Welcome everyone. Today's lesson is clause analysis. So let's get started. So before that, today I'm going to teach you the grammar topic is on clause analysis. Actually, what do you mean by clause? Clause are complex sentences. It is a group of words which join together and give a complete sense that is called as clauses. So today we are going to see that clause analysis, how we are going to find out subordinate clause and main clauses. And in this topic, we are going to identify only the main clause and subordinate clause for the point of view examination. And in this lesson, I'm going to tell you about the clauses classification also. Before that, a complex sentence has one main clause and one more subordinate clauses. That is called as clauses. So basically, clause is a complex sentences which join together and give a complete sense that is called as clause. So before that, what are the clauses we are going to see that? Clauses types we are going to see. Noun clauses, adjective clauses and adverb clause. So we are going to see that clauses only. So that three kinds of the clauses called as subordinate clause. So in this sentence, I have given you some examples. He's so dull that he cannot understand me. So here I have identified the main clause as well subordinate clause. And second sentence, we do not know where he is living these days. Here also main clause as well subordinate clause. This is the church that is St. James built in 1955. Here too the main clause as well subordinate clause. I have classified and divided the both clauses with underlined. It is given here. So see the differences you can see. So if there is a main clause, we have a complete meaning in that sentence. So that then we can have that meaning of the sentence. So before that, there are three kinds of subordinate clauses only. What are they? Number one is noun clause. Number two is adjective clause. Number three, adverb clause. So from these three clauses, we can identify the subordinate clauses. Before that, what do you mean by main clause and subordinate clause? So main clause is that clause which expresses a complete meaning in a sentence formation. It alone can stand as a sentence. That is called as main clause. So otherwise it is called as independent clause. And subordinate clause. What do you mean by subordinate clause? Subordinate clause is that clause which cannot express a complete meaning in a sentence formation, and it alone cannot stand as a sentence because it depends on the other clause to give a complete meaning. It serves a subordinate role in the sentence. That is why it is called a subordinate clause. So it is called as dependent clause. Because why it is called as dependent clause? It is depending upon that other clauses. For example, if there is a sentence, that sentence has two. One, it is main clause, and other one, it is subordinate clause. If there is a two kind of sentences is there in a sentence, it one has a complete meaning, other one is has not complete meaning. So that without complete meaning in the sentence, it depends to that main uh, meaning of a sentence. That is why it is called as subordinate clause and main clause. See the first kind, noun clause. Noun clause, which means A subordinate clause which occupies the same position in a sentence as a noun and it functions in the same way in relation to some other word in some other clause is called a noun clause. Okay, and here we have to note a point, it is noun clauses are introduced either by the conjunction, that, or question words such as what, which, why, etc. we can say. Second point we have to note it. Always remember that the noun clause answers the question what. And the noun clause function I have given you. A noun clause is a subordinate clause which does the work of the noun is in a sentence. So see the examples. Let's more examples, then you can understand. Noun clause works in one of the following ways I have given you here. First thing it is as the subject of a verb, the noun clause is functioning here. For example, where he went is a mystery. And second thing is as the object of a transitive verb, the noun clause is functioning here. Example is she gave me what I wanted. Another example is as the object of a preposition, the noun clause is functioning in the example, you must listen to what I say. And the last one thing, as the object of an infinitive, the noun clause is functioning in an example, I want to know why she is unhappy. So this is the way we can find out the noun clauses. So next group is adjective clause. A subordinate clause which functions as an adjective by qualifying a noun or pronoun preceding it in the main clause of a sentence is called an adjective clause. And the adjective clause is introduced by who, whom, which, that. Example sentences are here. This is the dress which I bought in Delhi. This is the man who taught me in English. So here we have to note a point. It is very important. Notice that point. If we ask a question which person or thing to the noun or pronoun of the main clause preceding the subordinate clause that we get as answer in adjective clause. So come to the third group, that is adverb clause. A subordinate clause which functions as adverb by modifying the main verb or an adjective or another adverb of the main clause is called an adverbial clause. So here we have to note a point, it is very important. If we ask a question when, where, how to the verb of the main clause, the subordinate clause that we get as an answer is adverbial clause. It may be substituted by an adverb. So here introducing subordinate conjunctions there are. So example sense is giving you, if I were you, I would not do it at once. You may go wherever you like. So see the next line. Introducing subordinate conjunctions are. So time for conjunctions words when, as, while, till, before, after, as soon as, whenever, since, as long as. And the conjunctions words for place, where, wherever. And the conjunctions words for reason or cause, because, as, since, now, that. And conjunctions words for result and consequences, so that, such that. Conjunctions words are for purposes, that, so that, in order that. And conjunctions words are for comparison, as, than. Conjunctions words are for concession, although, if, however, whatever, even though, though. And the conjunctions words are for manner, as if, as though. And conjunctions words are conditions. For conditions we use if, unless. So here in this topic only we have to merely the thinkers do. We have to identify whether it is subordinate clause and main clause only. In the sentences we are going to identify main clause and subordinate clause. So for that subordinate clause, these noun clause and adjective clause and adverb clauses, conjunctions words comes in a sentence. It is uh, comes in a sentence without a complete meaning. That is called as subordinate clause. So let's have more examples I have given you. So main or dependent clause it's called as. First example is I saw a man who was crying. So in the sentence, you just hide I saw a man and who was crying, and it was not a meaning. So that is a meaningless sentences. So I saw a man, it is a complete meaning. It gives a complete sense, that's called as main clause. And I have identified with the underlined the sentences here the main clause for. If you eat too much, you will fall ill. You will fall ill in main clause. So those underlined sentences are main clause. As he was not there, I could not speak to him. I could not speak to him. It is a meaningful sentence. I waited for him until he came. The teacher said that honesty is the best policy. Tell me where you have put my books. It is difficult to understand why he distresses his own children. So these sentences for main clauses are independent clauses. So another example are subordinate clauses are dependent clauses. I saw a man who was crying. So another sentences are having other meaningless sentences in this sentences I have underlined here. The subordinate clauses are given here. If you eat too much, that is if there is a no meaning in a sentence, you will fall ill. So it depends to the another main clause. That is why it is called as subordinate clause. As he was not there, I could not speak to him. I waited for him until he came. The teacher said that the honesty is the best policy. Tell me where you have put on my books. It is difficult to understand why he distresses his own children. So from this lesson, I hope you all understood to identify the subordinate clause as well main clause. Thank you.